Hi, my beautiful friends. It's Marta here. Today, I have this fun idea to use up some leftover pieces, scraps, and it's gonna be all about creating interesting texture. I'm gonna be starting from creating the card base. It's gonna be a little bit narrower than standard A5 size card because I want to make enough like a equal frame all around the edges, and I thought it will be a good change to try something different, to just spice it up a little bit. Now once I score my card at 5 inches, I folded half, I took off the remaining bit, and now I am creating this mat for my front panel. Today I am playing with the papers which are of my own design, but for yourself you can use whatever scrap pieces leftovers you have. Now, once I cut the mat, I am creating a slightly smaller layer from the white cardstock, and I will be creating a bunch of elements. I will list down below all the dies and sets I am using today. Unfortunately, I am not sure where do I have the little embossing folder. This one I am 100% sure it comes from it was one of the free gifts from the magazine, but which one it was I do not know, because at the beginning of my crafty journey, I didn't know I'm gonna be ever creating a YouTube video or creating the commission for the magazines or other places, so I wasn't keeping a track of all the goodies I have, so I won't be able to tell you. But the clue for today video is to create this nice texture, and any embossing folder, if you have those little like a busy pattern, that will be working well. So what I am creating here, I am just grabbing a bunch of elements, some butterflies, leaves, flowers, all sorts of the things which will help me to create the nice composition, and I am cutting them from various color cardstock. You can cut them from the white paper and then color it with the help of some inks or something, or as I've mentioned, that will be a great way for using up all the scrap pieces leftovers you may have of different color papers. I think this looks nicer when you have a little bit of the pattern rather than have a plain just one color cardstock. But if you decided to use one color cardstock, then you can grab some like a text stamp or something, or some other like a background stamp, and then just even do like a stamping with the clear embossing ink. That will give you tone on tone look and also add some additional interest. So once I have all my elements cut it here, I also cut 3 strips of the gray papers, which you can see on the top of the card, and I've just cut them into small pieces to create this kind of like a brick wall element. Now I use the busy pattern which has this like scattered dot embossing folder, and I run through all my elements, all the white front panel, this like a little tag as well. I didn't do those like matting layers of that teal color paper, but apart from that, all the elements were run through the same embossing folder. Here, to enhance this embossed pattern, what I am doing, I grabbed a bunch of the finger daubers and some matching ink colors, and I am just going over the edges and slightly on top of the rice area with the embossing design. And as you can see, immediately this adds tons of the texture to all the elements, and you will see that on the end up for all that this texture just pop up beautifully. And as I've mentioned, it doesn't matter if you have the same spotted dot embossing folder or similar one. You can use anything that could be like a texture background like embossing folder, or with some other elements. It's just once you emboss all the elements, that will really add that fun texture and just a fun idea. I've decided to use the stamp set, and this one comes from the magazine as well. That was a free gift on Creative Stamping magazine, but it was way back again. I think it was down in 2018. I was looking on the back of the magazine, I'm not sure which one issue is that, but it was 2019, so 4 years ago. And now I am just stamping it couple of times, and I will use the label die, which comes from the texturous die that was from the Christmas set, but I really like the shape of the label. I will be cutting it in a second. I'm just gonna leave the stamp image to dry. It's always a good idea to give it a proper 5 to 10 minutes just to make sure that your inks is entirely dry. This way, if you're gonna be touching it, you will avoid the chance of leaving some, like, you know, fingerprints or something, because once you touch the ink, the black ink of your stamped sentiment, it's so easy to make some smudges. So what I like to do, I am stamping my label, front sentiment, whatever it is, and then I'm just leave it aside, let it be, let it, you know, dry completely. You can also use the heating tool if you like, but because I had so other things to do, I've decided to just let it, you know, air dry. And now I've already used the brush cordoy on those little bricks, but I've decided that they are not standing out properly as much as I would like, so I just grabbed the vintage photo, which is a darker brown color. I don't have the oxide ink on that one, so I just use the regular, but it doesn't really matter. You don't need the distress inks, you can use whatever inks you have. And now I am just adhering those little elements to this white, kind of like a wall, a pattern that is really nice design. And this is something, you know, you can create additionally to spice up your card, to give it some additional interest, so your background, it's not always gonna be white or like a plain color. I think it's just looking really, really nice. And later on in a minute, you will see all the close-up look for us, and that's just looking brilliantly. And I think this design will be working well, no matter if you decide to dress it up in the spring, like I'm doing here. I've got some flowers, leaves, but you could dress it up with some like a winter scenery, like some snowflakes, or maybe turn it into autumn card. Just put a couple of the pumpkins and maybe like a mushroom or sunflower or some, like, you know, leaves which you can color in this like a red autumny vibe. Here I'm just chopping off a little bit. That's why I left the white paper on its own. I didn't adhere it to the mat because I wanted to finish with the bricks. I wasn't sure whether I'm gonna be needing to cutting them to fit the size, and I thought it will be easier to do it once it's not attached to the matting layer. Now I am adding this double-sided tape all over the edges, and I will be adhering it to the matching mat which I cut earlier on. So here I'm using the same thing over again. Lift the corners, add a little bit of the liquid glue, and then just make sure it's nice and even. As you can see, I can move it around, make sure it's nicely centered, and then I am just taking off all the release paper from underneath. For adhering this panel to the card, I've decided to go with the double-sided foam tape, just because I have got this very big roll of inexpensive tape. I am more keen to use it, plus I think it's just giving this nice dimension. The card, it's not going to be sent it through the post, so I can just go as bulky as I want. Here there's the label I was telling you about. I've made sure that the sentiment is now you know, super dry. There's nothing to be smudged. So I am adding pieces of tape, of the masking tape, to secure my die, and I am dyeing it. Because all my elements are a little bit inked, I've decided to use the same brown color ink just to color it up a little bit, and this will also help this label to stand out from this front focal point topper which I have on the sitting on the right, and I think it will just give it a lot more dimension as well. So I add a little drop of the brown color ink, and then I will be adhering it to the both this topper and the label on top of it. And again, I'm using the double-sided foam tape just to raise it up. I think it's just beside the texture, dimension is also another thing which makes this card looking really interesting and nice. And here I've just decided to slightly move two of those bricks because they were just hiding behind that topper. So I've just decided, I was luckily able to very gently pull them off without ripping the paper, and then I just moved them. And as you can see, I am just working my composition into kind of a triangle flow. This is always the best for me. I think the card is looking nice when you have this nice flow which helps your eye kind of move on a card. Try to avoid, if you're creating the composition, try to avoid to sticking the bricks in all four corners or something like that. It's never look good. Rather than creating too much chaos everywhere, try to create kind of a flowy element. So once you look on a composition, you're kind of following some pattern. Here I'm doing a little bit of the dry run just to see how I want my elements to be, and then I've started adhering them with the hot glue. So I'm adding one of the butterflies to the top of the card, and then the other one will be sitting beside the flowers. And as you can see here, it's very easy to do a couple of the elements, and because I've decided to go with kind of a bold colors, I think it's just looking nice and makes this card looking very springfully fun, and you know, just a nice spring summer vibe. I thought I want to create something different. I've been doing lots of the Christmas cards and inspiration lately, so I thought I'm just gonna give it a little break. Besides, I wanted to use all those little extra cut off pieces I have from the papers, so I thought I'm just gonna cut them and then emboss them all with the same design embossing folder. I hope you enjoy. I hope this video inspire you to create your own cards, to play with the embossing folder, play with the texture. And if you decide to do card like that, please tag me in a post, let me know. I would love to see your creation. And of course, it would help me a lot, my friends, if you will decide to leave a comment, leave a like, and share the video, post it on your Facebook or Instagram or other social media. Let your friends know about the card idea. That's always a huge help to any creator, and I am super thankful for all your support. Lastly, I am finishing the card with a couple of the pearls that will give this nice look as well, and I also add a couple of the gray color pearls just to enhance the butterfly's body, and that will be my idea. I will be coming back to you on my YouTube channel on a Saturday to have the live classes, so if anyone is interested, you can hop on. That's 6:00 p.m. UK time. Here a couple of the close-up look to see all this extra fun created with the embossing folder texture. Thank you so very much, everyone who's been here with me. I am wishing you all a fabulous day, and I'll see you shortly. Have a wonderful day. Bye bye.